Man, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of EOS. It's 1090 Jake, man. I'm rocking with y'all rocking with me. And for this video, I'm going to be giving the YFN Lucci update now that new details have dropped. We're going to be speaking on his co-defendant, a Miami rapper who is allegedly the shooter or one of the shooters, Lucci, who was allegedly the driver, how nobody in this group killed anyone, and they are still charged with the murder. So as I first told y'all, YFN Lucci had a warrant out for his arrest in reference to a double shooting in Atlanta that took the life of 28-year-old James Adams and wounded 32-year-old Kevin Wright. Lucci turned himself in on January the 13th, and since then, new details have emerged in the case. 23-year-old Rayvon Boyd and 17-year-old Leroy Pitts were placed in custody in Miami. Boyd is more commonly known as CP3, a Miami rapper from 13th Ave within the legendary Pork and Beans projects. The same public housing project that birthed the TV show First 48, giving those watching a glimpse of Liberty City and the trenches of Miami. CP3 was released from Florida State Prison back in August of 2020 after serving 25 months. He was arrested back in 2015 for carrying a concealed firearm and fleeing and eluding a law enforcement officer. In 2017, he was arrested again for a robbery, and both cases would later be conjoined, sentencing him in 2018 to 3 years and 8 months with county time served. Since his release, he's dropped First Day Out, and within the past 2 weeks, he's dropped 2 songs featuring G Liz, also known as Lizm, the 17-year-old who's being held in a juvenile facility, which is why his mugshot photo is unavailable. Now, according to the arrest affidavit, YFN Lucci is alleged to be the driver in an attempted gang hit. A video obtained by police shows the murder victim James Adams on video within the vehicle Lucci was driving, saying, "We're fitting to fuck this city up, man. We're fucking this city up." Authorities say YFN Lucci and others within the vehicle were driving around in a part of Atlanta dominated by another gang. The SUV entered an oncoming lane of traffic in the 900 block of DeMarc Street around 5:15 p.m. and stopped on the left shoulder, allowing James Adams, who was in the rear passenger, and CP3, who was in the front passenger seat, to allegedly aim and fire multiple shots out of the vehicle from assault rifle styled weapons. Those being fired on would then return fire, and when all the gun smoke settled, 2 people had been hit. 32-year-old Kevin Wright was shot in the stomach, later surviving, while James Adams, who was in the vehicle, was shot in the head and then pushed out of the vehicle and left to die on nearby Peoples Street, where a 911 caller described watching him fight for his life.
Oh, somebody is laying out. Somebody, I don't know if he barely.
Let me connect you.
Somebody just threw him out of the car.
Let me connect you to the ambulance.
She would go on to say he'd been shot in the head and remained on scene until the ambulance arrived when he took his last breath. Now, to break down the charges, the aggravated assault comes from the shooting of Kevin Wright, who survived. Participating in criminal street gang activity may not be directly in reference to an actual gang, as rap groups get labeled as gangs by police all the time, and as everyone knows, most rappers have rivals. So unless police are trying to paint Lucci's YFN as a gang, they may be able to beat that charge unless they can prove it's deeper than rap. At the same time, if CP3 has any type of gang profile in the Florida system, that could be used against him, and in that case, Lucci wouldn't need to be in a gang for the charge to stick, as he'd be guilty by association for participating in the crime itself. Possession of a firearm in the commission of a felony is being armed while committing a felony. And because it was inside of a vehicle, regardless of who held it, all can be charged with the weapons. Now, the felony murder charge, it's nothing more than charging them with the death of their own associate. Because they allegedly drove to a rival gang territory, targeted and initiated a shootout with rival gang members who returned fire, striking and later killing James Adams, who was in their car and is also from Miami, the responsibility falls on the participants in the vehicle, and furthermore, if any charges were to be brought against those rivals, a self-defense plea would clear them on any murder charges based on the information known. And at this time, it still isn't publicly known what exactly 17-year-old Lizm's participation was in the crime. The fact that police know who sat where in the vehicle and the style of guns used could all be coming from the dead victim's phone, who apparently recorded himself, or someone could already be talking, which will soon come to light if it's true. Now, this case is a wild one because it's very weird how much information is already known, how fast these warrants were put out, when the only victim that we know of, because the other one is dead, he refused to cooperate. He didn't say anything. And I highly doubt if he said something, if he actually snitched, that they would put his name in the news. They're gonna put his name in the court paperwork if he's snitching, but they're not gonna put it in the news, which makes me think, how much was James Adams recording before he died? Was he recording the weapons? Was he recording everyone in the car? Because if he did all that and the police found him on the ground and his phone was in his pocket and they got a warrant to go through it, then it sounds like it would be a case closed situation. There's not much that they need to argue. If that isn't the case though, and someone's already opened up their fucking mouth, that would be a whole nother story. And everyone in this case is facing serious ass charges. This isn't like Florida. I told y'all how Georgia is. They don't classify murders as first degree, second degree. It's just a fucking murder and the minimal sentence is life. And what can be added on to that is additional penalties, such as life without parole or even a death sentence. And CP3, the Miami rapper that got out of prison back in August of 2020, is also facing a felon in possession of a firearm offense. That can fuck him up. Aside from everything else that he's facing, which is obviously more, but you know, the feds don't play about that shit, especially in 2020, 2021. The feds aren't playing any games. That is a federal offense on top of a state offense. In Florida, if you're a felon, you get caught with a gun, I think it's a mandatory 3 or 3.5 years. Federally, you can be facing up to 10. Now, I'm very interested in hearing how this case plays out. And like I broke down with the gang participation thing, when it came to King Von and Lil Durk's shooting, I believe they got charged with that same type of offense based on the fact that the courts brought up that they're alleged Black Disciple members from Chicago. So that was also used against them in Georgia. And it seems Georgia just tries to pull anything out of the fucking air that they can. Like, oh, he went and shot at them. Oh, they might be in the gang too. But at the same time, in their defense though, they try to make any fucking rap group gang related. You know what I'm saying? It could be Best Rapper Alive, BRA. Oh, he's a BRA member. He's a gang member. Now, I'm gonna keep y'all posted on the case. I don't want to see anybody from Florida that's been in the chain gang, made it out and become successful, fall victim to the chain gang again. So, you know, I would hate to see the downfall of CP3, even though I'm not that familiar with his music. But I'll keep y'all updated on everything that comes out. It's 1090J. I'm rocking with y'all, y'all rocking with me. Till next time.